My name is Andrej Čírtek and I am the spokesman of CSG Group and spokesman of Tatra Trucks. And we are the biggest exhibitor here at IDET, the exhibition in the Czech Republic. And we present wide range of portfolio of land vehicles, usually based on Tatra chassis. This includes armored vehicles, some procured already by Czech Army, also bridging systems, recovery vehicles, also self-propelled artillery howitzer Morana, and of course that very important part of our portfolio currently is ammunition. So we present also our high caliber ammunition we produce in Slovak Republic and in Spain.
Good afternoon, my name is Benjamin. I'm a sales manager in Excalibur Army. I work there for already 4 years now. And Excalibur Army is part of the Czechoslovak Group holding, which has more than 80 companies inside the holding. This year, during IDET 2023, we display almost all of our portfolio. That means you will get to see the opportunity to see our howitzers, our recovery vehicles, our engineering vehicles, and also some of the ammunition and weapon systems that we have in our portfolio. The Morana is our latest howitzer in the 155 NATO standard, whereas based on all the experience that we had so far with the howitzers, such as Dana VZ77, Dana M2 and the Dita, we created a new howitzer with the similar characteristics but a different concept. Not in comparison to Dana and Dita, that you have the cabin, superstructure and engine in the back. We have a vehicle or a howitzer here where you have the cabin, engine just behind the cabin and superstructure in the back. But both of them, or all of the mentioned howitzers, are fully automatic. That means that you have an autoloader. That means that the required crew amount is quite low. It's only 3 people needed in order to operate the complete system. And therefore you have the possibility to have the driver, the commander and the gunner in the back. Whereas in this vehicle, it's one very nice characteristic, I would say. We have a remote controlled weapon station, and that means that you could have a 4th operator inside the vehicle. And this is one of the biggest advantages that we display here during IDET, that we have a system where the crew doesn't need to get outside of the vehicle. That means that they don't have to be unprotected at any time. They will stay safely in the cabin, ballistic protection level 2, also CBRN protected, and they will not have to go outside in order to maneuver the system. So this gun is certified to shoot all of the ammunition that is NATO certified. The main gun is a 155 main gun with a 52 caliber barrel length. We also have the Dita in our portfolio, which has just a 45 caliber barrel length, whereas the rate of fire for this system is 6 shots in the first minute and 5 shots every other minute. And the biggest advantage is, of course, because we have a self-propelled system, you have the shoot and scoot capability. So basically we stop at the firing post. We have an automatic aiming system because we have a fire control system. That means that you can shoot, and within 45 seconds you have the possibility to shoot and to change the position. Firing range maximum is 41.5 kilometers with a high explosive extended range base bleed ammunition. We here use the 7th generation of the so-called Tatra T815 chassis, but we need to consider one thing. Because of the vehicle weight of 36 tons, and of course the big forces that are going to be created once shooting with the 155 main gun. We did a technical improvement of the chassis. That means that the regular chassis of the 7th generation Tatra is 2.5 meters wide, and this one is 3 meters wide. So the chassis is much wider, and you will also notice it when you see, for example, the Dita and the Morana just standing next to each other. You will see that the Morana is much wider and much bigger. These two characteristics give you basically two very important advantages. One of them is that you have the autonomous firing, so at any time you will have 40 rounds ready to be fired. That means that the operator or the gunner, he can select 1 to 40, whichever projectile he would like to fire. If he has, for example, 1 to 20 extended range, and if he has 21 until 40, just the regular fragmentation, or M107, then he will have the possibility to choose what exactly he wants to do. Then our howitzer uses the modular charges, whereas these charges are completely full burnable. That means that there is no empty cartridge that has to be ejected. One thing that a very big advantage is that we have the possibility to reduce those charges because it's a modular charge. Usually you have 5 pieces of those modular charges, and the operator or the gunner can select if he wants to shoot the full charge of 5 pieces or only with the 3 pieces. So that means that he puts less charges into the main gun, and then he can, of course, get the perfect ballistic calculation in order to hit the target. The remote controlled weapon station, but this remote controlled weapon station, which is now equipped with the classical 50 cal M2 heavy machine gun, has one more advantage. It can, of course, provide you the close combat fire protection that you will need when you have a close encounter. But also when you have, for example, an enemy vehicle nearby, 1.5 kilometers, 1 kilometer, then you have the possibility to pair the electro-optical devices of the remote-controlled weapon station with the 155 main gun, and then you have the direct fire capability, so you can hit targets that are basically intended for the close combat, like it would be 2 tanks standing against each other. So here you have the direct fire capability. Otherwise, our main gun has the elevation of up to 70 degrees, and in the traverse it's plus minus 60 degrees, so 120 degrees in total. What we are standing next to is our so-called MR2 system, whereas this system combines the firepower of 2 KPVT machine guns, 14.5 times 114, and the operators of the system is basically only 3 people needed. You have 1 driver and 2 operators sitting just on the outside or on the superstructure of the Toyota Land Cruiser vehicle. The firepower of these 2 KPVT machine guns combined give you the possibility to shoot on aerial targets up to 2.5 kilometers with a rotation of 360 degrees. Normally in the past there was just a regular mechanical sight, but already those sights also had the possibility to integrate the so-called raccource. That means that when you have a flying target with a low velocity, you had the possibility to adjust the aim just a little bit in front of it. What we have here, of course, because with the time going on, everything is getting much more efficient and much more modernized. We integrated a modernized camera, day and night camera, where you have the possibility to shoot on aerial targets and to have a very good visibility even in very poor conditions.
Thank you so much.
Yes, here on the outside we are standing just in front of our tactical recovery and evacuation vehicle called Treva 30 and our APC 4x4 Patriot 2. This will be quite a tricky task because the system itself offers a lot of possibilities. I will try to describe the most important one of them that we believe give the customers or our end users the biggest advantages compared to other systems. So what we used here is the classical T815 Tatra chassis of the 7th generation with the standard width of 2.5 meters. We use our ballistic protected cabin for up to 4 people inside, ballistic protection level 2, mine protection level 2A, 2B, and then we use an air-cooled Tantra engine, just as in our 4x4 Patriot 2 APC, get to the superstructure. The lift capacity of this crane is 30 tons, as you can see just on the crane, maximum 30 tons. The crane system that we have integrated here is a double winch system. That means that you have 2 winches, each with a pull force of 8 tons. This pull force can be doubled if you use the pulleys. That means that you will get 8 times 2 is 16, 16 and 160 tons combined is the 32 tons. This is where the 30 tons maximum comes from. This advantage that you get here is basically that many times when you have to recover a vehicle, the vehicle lays somehow sideways. And here you can, of course, first turn on one of the winches, and that means that you will put the vehicle that you're going to lift now first in a horizontal position, and then comfortably with the two winches at the same time, you will lift it symmetrically up, and then you can recover the complete vehicle. The Patriot 2 vehicle is our medium class MRAP vehicle, whereas we provide in a medium class APC ballistic protection up to level 4 and ballistic anti-mine protection up to level 3A, 3B. That means that the equivalent of 8 kg of TNT according to Stanak 4569. The crew will stay safe inside at any time.
My name is Tarkan Türkşan. I'm the platform director of the CV90 platform. And as you said, it is the candidate for the Czech Republic contract. I would like to bring you through some details of the vehicle you see right here. So if we have a look at, for example, the chassis, then you can see that this chassis is having a rubber band track or a composite track. The reason for the composite tracks is to have less vibration, less noise, sound, but it also saves a lot of weight. And that gain of weight you can use for something else, another subsystem that takes a lot of weight. It's a level 6 protection, so it's a very high protection. And as you can see by the whole silhouette of the vehicle, we are very keen on keeping it as low as possible and to keeping it as light as possible and still provide a level 6 protection. That is mainly important for strategic transport. When we started building the CV90s for the Swedish Army, it continued to evolve. So we keep the name CV90 and we keep evolving because you have to keep up with everything that happens and try to integrate that in another version and another version. Then the moment you receive another customer or a possible customer, they have their own requirements. And of course, you're going to make up to those requirements. And that always means an additional change or an upgrade or something else. So at a certain moment, you come to the latest standard of a vehicle. We use the mark namings of it, but in this case, of the vehicle we're seeing right here, I prefer not to put a mark name on it. It resembles mostly like the latest vehicle made for the Dutch Army, so the Royal Netherlands Army, and that's mainly if you take a look at the turret. So if we can take a look at the turret, what you see on the turret, you have the main weapon system, and depending on customer, we can have different calibers. And left of the main gun, we have the coaxial machine gun. And the coaxial machine gun has a super elevation compared to the main gun. So in that case, that's mainly for urban or drone fighting. If we look left of the coaxial machine gun, there you have the ATGM. So this vehicle can carry 2 Spike missiles, for example, but it can also carry the MBDA missile, which we fired last year in November. So depending on the customer's requirements or wishes, we can add different ATGM systems. So we have the ATGM, like I just explained, and what you see underneath the ATGM and between the coaxial machine gun, that's actually the sensor suite for the APS. So the rectangular box you see, that's a radar, and next to it, the 2 lenses, that's the optical sensor. That's the package for the APS, and each corner of the turret has that sensor. So you have a 360-degree protection. Now that you need to detect a threat that has been fired upon you. Then the system detects that something is coming at you. It decides if that threat is actually for you or for something else, and then it will turn the launcher simultaneously, which you see on both sides of the turret at the rear, towards the threat. And the moment the time is there, the system will fire a countermeasure towards the incoming threat and neutralize that incoming threat. And we have done a very extensive testing. So the hatch you see here, the first one down there on the chassis, that's the driver's hatch. So that's for the driver. Then for us now on the right, but for the vehicle on the left, on the top of the turret, that's the commander position. And on his next to him is the gunner position. So that's the vehicle crew, 3 men. A driver, commander, and a gunner. Now in the rear, depending on the customer, we can have up to 8 dismount troops in there. So that makes a total of 11 troops in the vehicle. A lot of people forget it. I've been a soldier for 31 years. It's ergonomics, really ergonomics. When we did this turret, what we actually did to create more space, because commanders today, 1 screen is not enough. They need 2. They need the digital map, and they need their situational awareness from all the cameras that the vehicle has, and the situational awareness of the system. So they need more room. So what you can see on this turret is the coaxial machine gun actually now moved out of the turret. So that gained a lot of space. At the same time, the main gun is mounted more forward, which also counterbalances for the weight of the APS system on the back. Now this creates a lot of space within the turret. So if a soldier that's operating a standard vehicle today would jump into this turret, he would find oceans of space. Do not forget that this whole turret we always make built together with our end users from the user club, as you see over there. So their experience is integrated within this turret, but also the switches, the buttons, the control handles, the location of the screens. So it's mainly the ergonomics that is the biggest advantage of using these kind of vehicles. We not only offer the best IFV on the world, but we offer a long-term relationship. As we all know, these vehicles, they stay within their customer armies for about 30 to 40 years. But it's not just that. It's a family bond that you actually start, which is supposed to last even longer than that. So if you look at our user clubs, they continue with the CV90. They upgrade their CV90. And that's the whole goal. It's not just the vehicle, it's the bond you get together.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good morning, I am Olivier Faure, working for KNDS and in particular for Nexter. I am a gun specialist. I am working on marketing department for the Caesar and artillery products. This project of the Caesar 8x8 is based initially on the Danish the Caesar 8x8 with a new structure with the characteristic required by the Czech Republic Army. It is actually in production and with a close cooperation with the industry in Czech Republic. The main differences are the fact that on the Caesar 8x8 you have bigger ammunition carrying capability. You have 36 ammunition on the Caesar 8x8 instead of 18 for the Caesar 6x6. That's the biggest difference. You have also, from an operational perspective, you have slightly shorter into action times and out of action times, which were very good already on the 6x6, but even better on the 8x8. You have a crew of 5 on the 6x6, and you have a crew of 4 people on the Caesar 8x8. The Tatra chassis was chosen for the 8x8 as it has an excellent off-road mobility. It was selected amongst many chassis from different European providers, and it was selected as the best. For the Czech Republic, it's a semi-automatic loading system, which means that you only have a minimal amount of efforts to make with loading of the shell itself, which is the heaviest thing to load. So you have a minimal amount of efforts to make. The shell is taken by pins.
Okay, good morning. My name is Stepan Černý and I'm business director of company SVOS, one of the European manufacturer of armored vehicles. Currently here in IDET we present our latest developed APC called MARS, together with the SAAB system and RBS 70 NG. This vehicle is designed for a 4-person crew that is operating the system. So the driver, commander of the vehicle, commander of the missile system, and the operator of the system.
My name is Emil Holm, and I work from Karlskoga, Sweden, our Saab Dynamics branch, as a marketing and technical sales director. That means I am in charge of operational support to our marketeers, but also to our development organization back in Sweden. What we present here on the IDET exhibition is our mobile firing unit, the Saab MFU, and it's a vehicle integrated version of the RBS 70 NG system. I would say the modern RBS 70 NG sight with an integrated thermal imager to be used 24/7, but also a lot of important operator aids such as course aiming indicators, an automatic tracker function, and also different types of cueing aids to find the target faster, to track the target better and more precise. The automated tracker, we still use the same missiles and the same missile family, so at different of numbered generations, the Mark 1, the Mark 2 and the newest one, the Bolide. And RBS 70, the older version of the system, and the Bolide missile together will give you 8 kilometers range and 5 kilometers altitude coverage. Using the NG sight and the tracker function, it's going to give you 9 kilometers range and still the 5 kilometers altitude coverage, but also improved performance against especially small and fast targets. Basically, of course, the old traditional type of air threats like helicopters and transport and fighter aircrafts. Nowadays we can also counter cruise missiles, in some cases ballistic missiles and UAVs of different sizes and shapes, depending on which type of classification guide you use, but all the way down to the biggest versions of micro UAVs. So say something in the vicinity of 30 by 30 centimeters. The way we use to see the targets is our thermal imager, and the resolution of the thermal imager is working on a wavelength that gives us a resolution of 0.2 degrees Celsius in differences can be detected and shown. So as long as there is a thermal image or a thermal transmission from the target, we will be able to see it. Of course, the smallest targets will probably not be detected at 20 kilometers like a regular fighter, but as soon as we can see them, we can engage them. What we have done is that we use our existing missiles, so the most modern one, the Bolide missile, we use exactly the same sight in our vehicle integrated version as on the manned portable version, and we integrate those on an existing SAAB product, the SAAB Trackfire, which originally was designed to carry a heavy machine gun, gyro-stabilized via electrical engines. So we used the same platform, we made it a little bit wider, a little bit taller or higher to fit our sight, but we use that and we remotely control it from inside the vehicle. So the normal setup would be one commander and one operator or firer, but the firer can also be the commander. So the firer, the operator, can control both the stations and operate everything on one person. In this configuration with the Mars vehicle, we have up to 4 missiles as a spare in the back end of the vehicle. We also have all the necessary equipment to do one of our key features. As I said, we use the same sight and the same missiles as the man-portable version. So by having the original stand, we can in less than 1 minute reconfigure from vehicle integration to man-portable integration, take the stairs or the elevator to the rooftop if the situation demands it. There are two, looking at the battle area or the battle, how the battle is played today, mobility is a key feature. To have a high mobility, integrating on a vehicle will give some limitations, like major cities with tall buildings and such. We are relying on line of sight. So that's why we wanted to keep the man-portable version reconfiguration option.